boys. Hey, boys and girls. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Sunday evening here. Show number 151 of the Pucknologists on Teal Town, USA. That's right. The unfiltered, unedited, uncensored, commercial-free Sharks podcast. And it was somewhat of an eventful or uneventful, depending on your take.
Depending on who you ask.
Yeah, one game this week.
It was a good game.
The Tampa one?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
I wasn't sure if you were talking about that or the All Star. It's all good. But first, before we get into that, hey, do us a favor. Remember to subscribe, follow us on that social media, and blah, 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 blah. You know where we are. If you want to put something in the tip jar, it's all good. We appreciate it. Super chat, all that stuff. It's all cool. So,
you're the way that you read through all of that, nice addition to the mic stand, by the way.
Thank you.
The way you read through all of that kind of reminds me of like the referee the linesman during the third period of an All-Star game right before a 7-day break, where it's like, I'm not blowing the whistle, keep it going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we have next week off. I think that's not a big secret. So, we're trying to get to our winter vacation, if you will.
No doubt. And
our bye week.
Dude, and what's so funny here is I've been planning this show since like the last day or so, putting together some of the notes, but the big notes that I wanted to go over were like the odds of the Sharks making the playoffs, right?
Sure.
And where they look. And who comes along on my Twitter feed? We got Shane tweeting out, how long are the Sharks playoff odds? Dude, get your own content. I'm just kidding, Shane. What else is there to talk about? Ugh. But so if you remember, everybody, there was a bet, and you can see right here it's been paid off. I have the $5.
I'm not. Here's the thing,
and I don't feel good about taking it, to be honest with you.
Well, and here's the thing, I'm not that upset about. I'm not upset about losing, right? I made a wager, I failed, it was fair and square, and we're all good, no problem. I have no issue losing. The thing that kills me about this whole bet, there's two things. Number one, so we're looking at an 8-game sequence, and I said 3 wins out of 8. Mm-hmm. Well, they won twice, so it's like you're almost there. You know what I mean? But at the same time, Pittsburgh, Seattle, Florida, Carolina, Tampa 2.0, 5 of those 6 losses were in reach.
Oh, dude. And
I had so many chances to rub your face in the dirt, and I didn't get it.
I don't know that that's the nicest way to look at that.
That's why I'm upset, though. I'm not mad that I lost. I'm mad that I almost won.
No, it seems like you're really mad that you don't get to rub my face and something, which is not cool. Do you see me rubbing your face in this?
I invite you to.
Oh, okay.
I want the $5 taped to my mic stand.
Well, I think what we have to do next time is you have to say, no, there could have been 16 points. I say they take 6.
Yeah, no kidding, eh?
Then I think you would have been there. So let's do it, guys. It was one game. We all know what it is. Through 46 games so far, the Sharks are 22, 20, and 4 for 48 points. With those 48 points, last time I looked, although who knows, last I looked, Sharks are 6th in the Pacific, 5th in the wild card. And if you go by points percentage, as things start to, we see Calgary and Edmonton, certain teams starting to get their games in hand out of the way. The Sharks' points percentage, also 6th in the div, 5th in the wild card.
Yeah, especially, the team that I kind of laser in on is Calgary, right? Calgary is 4 points up on the Sharks, and they got 4 games in the hand.
Yeah. Dude, Calgary could be eyeballing Vegas in a big way. And saying, Pacific Division, motherfucker.
And I think we both weren't really that high on the Flames at all, and yet here they are. They're proving us wrong.
I think I might have had them in the top 4, but I had them, it was everybody had Vegas and Edmonton as, 1 and 2. And then for me, it was kind of like, well, LA and Calgary would probably fight for that 3rd spot.
Right, but I don't know. It's just so crazy to me because even you look at like, plus 32 on the goal differential, like they're
Dude, most
scoring
shutouts?
and most shutouts. It's like, how are they not first,
No doubt. Oh, boy, if Mark Stone or something significant goes out for Vegas for a hot middle minute, or if Eichel is not the end all be all, if Vegas just gets a little skid, just saying.
Well, and now, people are saying that
Many people.
yeah, that Calgary was the runner up for Jack Eichel. Well, now it's kind of like, I don't want to get into the tea too much, but I heard somebody casually say Giroux and Calgary in the same sentence.
Ooh, that could. Can
Yeah.
you imagine Hurdle ends up in Calgary?
Dude.
So let's get back to the Sharks real quick here. 3-4-3 in their last 10, 1-2-2 in their last 5. They're still 3-3 in those divisional games, but a whole ton loader coming up between now and the deadline. Last I checked, I think 9 of their next 13 are divisional games, which, let's be honest, that's going to be the make or break for this season. Coming into that deadline, you have to make some choices, and you're going to make them based on your standings. My predictions, I went 1-1 this week. It wasn't that hard. 46 games. I had them with 22 wins, 24 losses. They have 22 wins and 20 losses for overtime losses. Still, that's 22 wins, 24 losses.
So,
Dude.
I just want to clarify here. You said you're saying you were 1-1 as in one right, one wrong, or you were 1-4-1?
I'm sorry, 1-4-1. My
okay,
bad.
I was wanted to make sure. I was like, did I miss a game?
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Let's get into the Tampa game real quick here. It's 3-2 overtime loss. Reimer starts his 5th straight. Although I got to say, for all the talk of like, well, you don't want to burn out a goalie or anything, Reimer's still looking damn good.
Well, and how much do we talk about guys that in a weird way, like you play them more and they kind of are refreshed and then tired, and then they move past tired and they're like refreshed again.
Yeah, that second wind.
And I think Reimer is one of those guys where he's thrived the more he's played. Whereas, like, you remember when they were doing the 1-up, 1-down kind of thing with Hill and Reimer. Like, Reimer was good, but he would have a doozy every so often.
Yeah.
And lately, I feel like it's just been all good.
Well, see, ever since that blowout at SAP against the Lightning, where he got yanked, Chiefs been for me like. You were saying it earlier. It's like, oh my God, it's a 3-2 loss with Carolina or 2-1 loss.
2-1.
2-1. You got 5-4 against Florida.
2-1 against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, 3-2 with Tampa. I mean, you can't really blame all of this shit on Reimer. It's like, just manufacture one more goal, guys. Do something here. Not
Score on the power play, maybe.
Yeah, that too. Not again, and this keeps coming up. Not the greatest game for Burns. Poor change. Burns doesn't get enough stick. Sorelli makes it 1-0. But your man's Balcers tips on the pickle
Whose
shot.
man's is this? Whose man's is this?
But look, the thing about this game, the Tampa game, let's be honest, it was some questionable officiating. I mean, holy cow. Look, Couture did score on the power play. First goal in 9 games. We called him out last week. Dude responded, gets an assist as well. They did go 1 for 3 on the power play, 3 for 4 on the PK. But dear Lord, I don't understand how Meier gets corkscrewed and gets called for embellishment.
That's the thing that kills me, for 2 reasons. Number one, our friend Ian Reed always says, how is it, like, how can you be tripped and embellish something? Like, it's one or the other or neither. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But also, how can you, like, if you're a referee or a linesman or whoever, how can you look at somebody and say, oh yeah, he embellished that? Like, you didn't go through it. For all you know, he legitimately did catch lose his balance and fall down. And okay, it looks weird to you, but that doesn't necessarily mean it was weird, you know?
Yeah.
Unless it's like really egregious, like Marchessault getting tapped on the laces and then he flies into the third row, like that's pretty egregious embellishment. But like for the most part, I don't know how you can look at something and say, yeah, he embellished that when, I mean, you're not in his head. You don't know what went on.
Yeah, I just thought that was, to me, there was no, because there's sometimes you see like the obvious flop. You bring up Marchessault. There are more than a few clips of that guy, like you're saying, gets a tap on the ankle and it's like sniper got him. So those I can see, but when you got a stick like in between your legs giving you a love tap, up against the boys, the twig and berries, and you get screwed. Okay, I probably could have phrased that better, but when you get corkscrewed, like I don't understand how that worked out, but whatever. And then you have Palat knocking off the net in overtime, no call. It just, again, I don't understand it. You haven't heard us talk about the officiating much at all this season. This is one where I go, the fuck out of here.
I wonder if the referees knew that there was a pending wager on our part.
That's what it was. They're like, oh, we got to get Jerky. It's $5. Oh, coming in hot. Taco Cruiser on the super chat. Thank you so much for the donation. Taco Cruiser asks, who contends sooner, Sharks or the Yotes? I'm going to go with the Sharks just based on, I don't know if the Yotes are going to be around in 3 years. No. Kidding.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the Sharks as well because, I mean, I think the NHL personnel they have in place is better, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm referring to obviously guys that aren't going anywhere, but also I didn't say also too, the guys that are coming up, like, I mean, obviously the Sharks only have one guy that everybody's really thinking about, and that's William Eklund, but the Coyotes don't have that yet. I mean, they've got a mountain of draft picks, so maybe the pendulum swings in 7 months, right? But right now, I think it's the Sharks.
Well, one of the things that was the hot button issue for the Jerkman is why the hell isn't Balcers on the power play?
Yeah, we all want to know that.
We all wanted to know. So after following the Tampa Bay game, I straight up asked him.
Yeah, just a couple, Bob. First off, considering how hot Balcers has been since he's returned from that injury, is there a reason why he's not seeing any time on the power play?
To be honest with you, I think it's not been out of the discussion. I think that, again, when you're off that long, you got to manage ice time, and you don't want to overuse a guy because he's also on the penalty kill. He's playing on Kucha's line against their top lines. I think he's a secondary power play guy. That's where he sort of tops out at. And our second unit's been real good lately. So you sort of don't want to fix what's not broken. And, our power play has been good on this road trip.
And did you get a satisfactory response on your inquiry about Palat knocking the net off an OT?
Yeah, not really. I tried. I mean, I didn't. We were going a 2-on-1 on the other way, and usually the call there is to let the play out before you blow the whistle. It wasn't us that knocked it off; it was them, and I was a little shocked by that. And they sat there and tried to figure out where the draw was going to be. That wasn't my issue. What the draw was going to be, inside or outside, was why it was the whistle blown in the first place.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks.
So there you have it, Jerk. What do you say? Second power play unit, it's not broken. They don't want to fix it.
Yeah. I mean, the power play is broken. I mean, lately it's been
clicking.
Top
unit is.
Lately it's been clicking, but generally speaking over the season, it has been broken. Here's the thing. I like what Boughner said because, he took the time to answer your question. And he answered it very well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think the answer he gave was a good answer. I personally was not a fan of, I don't like the rationale for keeping him off the power play, but I understand it. Like, I see where he's coming from.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Right. Like, I understand it, but that doesn't mean I like it. I'd love for him to be on the power play. As you said, he's the hottest player on the Sharks right now, but I appreciated where Bob was coming from and kind of his rationale behind the situation. I appreciated it, even though I might not have liked it.
Yeah. And I like the explanation about the Palat thing. It's like,
mm-hmm.
hey, I got to ask, but yeah, I don't understand.
I like I like how he said to. He was like, I tried. Like he was kind of just looking out for everybody out there. He's like, I tried for you guys.
Yeah, no doubt. The one, I guess, silver lining you can take away from this is Mario Ferraro and Jacob Middleton returned.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. Ferraro, I mean, what can you say about that kid?
Warrior.
Dude.
Total warrior.
Everything that he had to go through. Here's the thing that really is a kick. The fact that he gets his grill rearranged in Carolina, or was that right? Carolina?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in Carolina, they don't have. No. I'm
No, it's in
misremembering this. Yes, he got his grill rearranged in Florida. He's got to deal with that because they don't have like the dental surgeons that they need for him,
mm-hmm.
because they're all at a dental convention in Carolina. So,
worked out.
yeah, but that is so bizarre. Ruzanowski mentioned that during the game, and I was just like, that is the oddest thing I've ever heard. But for Chief to come back like that, that's just like the fact that he went to Boughner and said, I want to play. Like, oh my God, dude, just give him the C already. Woof. So that wraps up Tampa. We got things that are coming down the pipe, which we'll get to momentarily. You know what we haven't talked about in a hot minute is the youth. The little guys, if you, I don't want to say the little guys, but the
farm.
The farm, if you, yeah, those guys. You know what I'm saying.
Ooh, Barracuda.
I hate to break it to you, the Barracuda suck.
Yeah, it's not good.
Dude, 14-24-1. The bottom of the division, worst team in the AHL. But let's just bang it out real quick because there's just, unfortunately, not a lot of good to talk about on the farm. Scott Reedy still leading with goals, 18 points at 27. Nick Merkley taking over the assists at 17. And Sachenko, of course, up with the Sharks while Hill is on IR, although I think I might have saw something that he came off.
He is off the injured reserve, and Sachenko is actually back with the Barracuda now.
There you go.
Because post All-Star break, the taxi squads are all dissolved.
Nice. So, yeah, it's not good. I don't know why this team is this bad. Wonder if it has to do with something with coaching, but I digress. The prospects, not much movement in your top 10.
Yeah, movement in the top 10, sure, but within the top 10,
yeah, a little bit.
The top 10 have been the top 10, which sounds weird, but that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, hey now.
Like I'm Brandon Coe, he's
Chief.
He's got some things to say.
70 points in 42 games.
Yeah,
hot damn. Tristan Robbins, 20 goals, 56 points in 38 games. Gannon Larocque out there with 39 points in 41 games. Daniil Gushkin, 38 points in 29 games. And Cardwell, 35 points in 31 games. So, I mean, there's a good amount of players here that are point per game or better.
I just want to know, and it's not his fault, but like, is William Eklund going to score this year?
Dude, 9 assists in 14 games.
14 games, got a donut on the board with Dürgarden. 9 games with the Sharks, donut on the board.
I thought I read something about him, though, that they're likening him to more of a Joe Thornton kind of a guy where he's going to be that feeder.
Sure, and that's fine. But, I mean, Joe Thornton still scored goals, right?
True that.
And the thing is, it's hard to assign all the blame to him. I mean, we've talked about it before, and Kevin Lacey, our buddy, has talked about it before. Dürgarden sucks.
Yeah,
like it's bad.
Yeah,
like,
they're almost as bad as the Cuda.
Well, and their leading point scorer is Marcus Sorensen, if you can believe it.
Fuck
and one of their goalies is actually the starting goalie, Mantis Armalis, who famously played poorly with the Barracuda. Like,
I see a trend.
Yeah.
Yikes. So that's the way it shapes up for the youth. If anything changes, we'll let you know. It's going to be something we do first show of every month. Not enough is changing for us to dive in every show. So just first of the month, let us know and go, hey, what's going on with the young? And we, oh, yeah, let's go take a look at them. So it comes down to the jerk man in Vegas.
Well, do we want to talk about anything else?
I mean, we'll get to some stuff around the NHL, but
Sure.
let's first off, let's kind of start with your thoughts on the Fan Fest, because you were at San Jose.
Yep.
You were at Vegas.
Yep.
Much of a difference?
No.
All right, then.
The venue was larger. The Las Vegas Convention Center is really epic, actually. It's quite large. I thought it was a bit hilarious. So, and here's the thing, to get into it a little bit. We're only 21 minutes in. We have so much time. For those who don't know me, I'm a bit of a planner when it comes to going places I've never been before. Like, I will pull up on a map and say, okay, I'm going here. You know, what's the closest parking garage? And I will map my directions to that parking garage. So, you know, I mapped to the parking garage that's next to the convention center. And I wheel up, and I guess, I don't know, somehow I ended up like on the wrong side of the entrance, you know, where you were supposed to, like, you know, you come in and then you turn right into the lot. And I was like opposite. So like my car was facing the back of where you pay.
Oh,
and so,
dude, I've pulled that one because in Vegas, man, you take a wrong turn. You've seen, what's the TV show where it's like, you know, 3 hours later or whatever.
Yeah.
I've done that where I've like taken a wrong turn in Vegas and then it's like 3 miles later.
So, yeah. And so Chief walks up to my car and he's like, oh, I'm like, hey, like, you know, can I pay right here, or do I need to like go up and turn around? And he was like, well, what are you doing? Cash or card? And I said card. And he was like, yeah, you'd have to go around. He's the only guy with the scanner. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, no problem. I'm getting ready to wheel out, and he's like, but you know, that lot right over there, that lot is free to park in.
Hey now.
And so I'm like,
bet.
And so I was like, let me get this straight. The lot next to the convention center is $10, but the lot that's next to the lot next to the convention center is free. And the guy was like, yeah. I threw my car in reverse, and I was like, psh, right back. I'm like, and I, you know, I told AJ this off camera. I told my fiance as well, like, if I'm gonna, you know, 3 minutes of walking gonna save me $10, sure. Does that make me cheap? Does that make me cheap? I don't care. Save him $10. Walk 3 minutes, nice out, whatever.
Dude, I just look at that. I'm like, oh, that's a beer.
Yeah, there you go. But you know, the Fan Fest. It was, if you went in San Jose, it was a very similar experience. That's not to say it wasn't fun, but it was very similar. You know, I got a picture with the Stanley Cup. You know, got a autograph, had to stop and chat with Rick Tocchet, which was cool. You know, did some of the obstacles, went to the fan shop, you know, spent way too much money in there. Got to do pin trading, which was fun. There weren't a lot of cool pins on the board to swap with, but I did end up making one swap, so that was good.
What'd you do?
So funnily enough, I had a pin that I picked up from the 2019 All Star pin trading. I would have to look. I brought like a sandwich bag full of the pins I wanted to offload, and I don't even remember which one I put up there, to be honest, but I know I got it from the 2019 one, and I was able to swap it out for like a Evgeny Malkin like jersey pin.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I was like, that was, you know, to me that was a win because I like Evgeny Malkin. I have to say, I know you're gonna be kicking and screaming, but you know, I have to give props to the organization running the merchandise. I'm not going to say their name, but you know, I give them props because they fumbled the pass when it came to jerseys and player tees in San Jose, and they made up for it this time around.
So they learned from their mistakes.
Yes, I give them props. Even though we are not the biggest fans of them, we're also true and honest people.
It only took them a couple of years.
Right. No, who's to say what happened in 2020 in St. Louis? I don't know. I wasn't there. But the Fan Fest was cool. If you can believe it or not, the 55-degree temperature when I was leaving was actually quite comforting because it was hot as hell in the convention center. Like, I was dying waiting in line for the Stanley Cup.
Oh, yeah, because that's how they sell that, you know, all those beverages.
Yeah, and you know, it's
Oh, let me ask you this, because this is something
Sure.
that they had at 2019 for the Cup thing, is that they had the I don't even know, some sort of like take a ticket thing, or like you can go up there and the line is 500 deep or whatever, and you can get like a little number or some shit, and it says come back at 2:30, and then you go into this other line where you kind of bypass all the schmoes.
they did not have that.
Oh, see, that was very cool that they had that going. What is it? They have something like that at
Like a fast pass.
yeah, like Disneyland or whatever, right?
Yeah, fast pass.
Yeah. So they had a fast pass at the 2019 All Star Fan Fest.
That
was
may have
sweet.
that might have been an executive decision on the San Jose Convention Center, because I could see a situation where it's like, hey, it's kind of small in here. We don't want a bunch of people clustering.
True.
'Cause
True. But then
I'm
again,
telling
we're
you,
also
dude-
talking we're COVID time now, so
Right. Also a good point. But yeah, like I said, it was big. In the hall that they chose, the West Hall at the Las Vegas Convention Center, it was like I told Adri this off camera, like there were numerous spots where like you could just stand up there, and this is exactly how I said it. Like you could stand there with your head up your ass and you wouldn't be in anybody's way.
yeah,
Which I
that
like.
was not the case in San Jose.
No, it was not.
Plenty of people with their head up their ass. Get out of the fucking way.
I noticed as well in San Jose, I feel like it was really easy to acquire like swag, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where like you'd like, oh hey, you've heard of ESPN before? Here's a beer koozie.
Yeah,
You know?
they were throwing shit at people.
Where now it's like, oh, you got to do Plinko, give us your email, oh, stand in this line. And
To be fair, there was a decent amount of that at San Jose too.
sure, but I remember having an easier time acquiring like free swag.
I feel that. And you decided against getting the upper deck card?
Well, I never went back. So, my plan was I didn't do it when I was there just because the line was long and, I was kind of itching to go. I had been there for close to 3 hours. And so I was like, okay, Saturday or Sunday, if I come back, this is all I'm going to do while I'm here. And
See-
I ended up not making it back.
See, if I remember correctly, I did that. We got in like right as doors opened on like the first day or whatever, because we had I don't know if they allowed like media to come in like an hour early or something. So yeah,
That would have been cool.
yeah, I remember like buzzing through a couple things like real quick because there was nobody there because we had that media access, and there was Chiefs running around taking photos of everything before they cracked the door. So that was sweet.
Yeah, for sure. No, all in all, it was cool. It was fun. We're talking about FanFest here. But
Like 4 stars would do again.
right, like it was cool and it was fun, but also very similar to 2019. That's not a bad thing. It's just nothing was new.
Yeah. So what about the skills challenge?
So,
There's a lot of stuff to get into with this.
skills challenge was cool. I felt like the time between skills was very long. Like,
So well, let
they
me-
started with the fastest skater.
Mhm.
And it felt like they ripped through fastest skater really quick, right?
Oh,
and
that's
then
the way it was on TV as well.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, we're going on to hardest shot. And dude, like, so they do they go through the whole thing. Opening ceremony, national anthem, this is who everybody is, blah, blah, blah. Fastest skater, boom, done. Like, you go through all this extra stuff, then fastest skater is quick, and then it's like, okay, when we come back, hardest shot. And they throw up on the board a 7-minute timer. I'm like, 7 minutes? We just started. Like, why are we breaking for so long?
Well,
And no, there was all they had to pull off the ice was those curved like foam pads so nobody ate it into the boards. Like, that doesn't take 7 minutes.
no, not at all.
So I'm just like, what are we drawing this out for?
Well, were they doing? See, that was the thing that I was wondering: is did they pre-record the shots when they were having to? I don't even know what the hell it was called. Where you had the guys out on the Bellagio water.
That was pre-recorded. They filmed it on Thursday.
And so, did they show that while they were like changing from one event to the other?
No, they showed it as it aired.
Uh,
But I thought that would have made a lot of sense. But
Yeah.
they showed the same way it aired on TV was the way it showed in the arena. But it was, I mean, it was still a cool event. The fans were obviously really into it. Naturally, fans are gonna cheer for the team that they're there representing. They're gonna boo the team that's a rival or of their team. Tom Wilson was getting regularly booed, which I thought was fun. Timo Meier had a couple boos when he was announced. I think a product of being on the Sharks.
Of course.
The crowd, I will say, the crowd got hot for. They were really pumped when in the fountain face-off, Jocelyn Lamoureux. They were really pumped about her time, which was awesome. Because those guys she went before, she kind of dusted them a little bit.
Oh, dude.
So I'm like, yeah, like this is awesome. I was really pumped for her.
Yeah, no, I was rooting for her as well. And what's funny is you talked about like Timo Meier pulling some boos from the crowd. The first thing that popped in my head, of course, was just kind of like, oh man, could you imagine if this was, that Evander Kane, that this is from last year, and Evander Kane is the one representing the Sharks in the All-Star game, because he obviously would have after what he did last season, right?
Right.
So you talk about boos. Those, I think, would have been a scotch louder.
Yeah, or imagine if the 2020 All-Star game was in Vegas, and
yeah, but no fans.
No, I'm just saying, like in another reality.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Say the 2020 All-Star game was in Vegas, and Pavelski was still in the All-Star game. Like, I'm curious to know, because there are some Vegas fans out there who think Pavelski had a ketchup packet in his helmet.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. For when you get knocked down by Cody Eakin. Have that
Right.
with you. Are you kidding me?
No, I thought the skills I thought was really cool. I liked that.
The 22 and or the 21 and 22 I thought was very cool.
I agree, and I liked that the players were kind of yupping it up with each other. I thought during the fountain face-off, I think they were a little less energetic, right?
Yeah, there were some people that said these guys are just short of a coma. It seemed like.
Yeah.
And who was Stamkos was bitching about the cold?
Yeah, which is I totally see where he's coming from, because in Vegas we've had pretty much since the end of November, it's been a very friendly winter. It's been like 65, 66, 67 for like 6 weeks. And then of course the 7 days leading up to the All-Star break, it's like the high is 52. Of course.
Yeah.
So it was like, that wasn't like BS. Like it was freezing out there for sure.
Well,
I thought the tandem save streak was kind of lame.
yeah. But that's another one where it was just like bam, bam, bam,
Right. I'm trying to like think of like
I'll
what I'm trying to do.
I'll credit the NHL for at least speeding certain things up, but yeah, you talk about
For
that
sure.
7-minute clock thing, and as Ian mentions, it's like, yeah, got to run those commercials, got to get that revenue.
Right. And I think for the most part, they did a really good job at filling the time between things. Like, oh, hey, we're at commercial right now, so, this magician from the Luxor is going to do like a quick little trick for the fans only. So that was cool, I thought.
Yeah, that's cool. Well,
I'm trying to think, like, go through each event and each happening. I'm like, okay, what was I thinking about as this happened?
Well, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Fuck
Okay.
John Hamm. Okay.
Oh yeah, dude, rigged the vote.
Yeah, giving Petro 19 after like Zegras clearly won that. And the funniest part was that the Vegas Twitter account for the Golden Knights, they posted something about winning that, and then like had hidden replies turned on.
Of course.
Because they knew they were going to get torched for it. And it's just like, oh, did they give this to you so they didn't have to apologize again?
I will say,
Should have to apologize to the fans for that shit.
you know what I thought was kind of a funny little thing? And not that anybody noticed or cared, right? But, at the media day, which was Friday morning, I asked Timo Meier. I asked him if he was going to shoot over 100 miles an hour. and he did. Barely, but he did. So, I don't want to say that I put it in his mind, but
Well, that just seemed like an odd, I don't know that's the challenge that I'm putting Timo in.
I would have put him in the accuracy or the blackjack one.
Yeah. So I was a little kind of, who's putting this together? I still love your idea of bringing in guys that aren't necessarily quote unquote all-stars. Like, they don't obviously play in the all-star game, but if they're a badass, if they're a speedster, like, take the fastest guys from every team, you know? Like,
well, and I thought, like, that's what they did with Trevor Zegras, and obviously that was a smart decision because his breakaway challenge was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Like, dude, if you watch the slow-mo gif of how the puck stayed on his stick.
Dude, I thought
spinning,
he glued it on there at one point.
Dude, that was greasy. I'm like, I had to watch that multiple times. And like when you're, you try to be, you don't want to be like up cheering, when you're representing a brand there, and but me and a couple of the other people up top, we were kind of looking like, holy shit, like, how did that stay on his stick,
Dude. I loved that. And I was showing that to my wife, and I was like, okay, so here's the good news. This kid plays in the Pacific Division, which means we're going to see a lot of this kid. And so, like, who knows what else he's going to come up with. Here's the bad news. This kid plays in the Pacific Division.
Right.
But you know what, though? I just hope that brings some heat to the Anaheim Ducks,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think kind of like what you're talking about with the, bringing in players who don't play in the All-Star game to participate. Like, obviously they did that with Zegras. Even the quote-unquote celebrity goalies for the breakaway challenge, Wyatt Russell, who is an actor but played pro hockey. And then Manon Rhéaume, who the first woman to play in the NHL. I thought that was cool. Like, and even bringing in Jocelyn Lamoureux-Davidson as well, like bringing in, these unofficial all-stars to kind of participate in the event. I really think it added to the entire experience.
Yeah. And Puck Guy saying early on in the Sharks' existence, all teams had a skills showcase to qualify to go to the skills tournament. Would that be something to do again? Absolutely.
I just think in general, like, the All-Star game is the All-Star game, but I think the skills competition, like, just because you're an all-star doesn't necessarily mean you're skilled in one thing, right?
Well, to me, you had brought it up before. It's like, why can't Noah Gregor, if he's the fastest one on the Sharks, why can't he compete in the speed challenge? Especially the way you're talking about, where they were just blowing through it. I mean, hell, I'm not saying like all 32 teams, but if each team does their own individual skills challenge, and you take, I don't know, the top 10 and put them in.
I mean, it would just make sense, right? Because isn't the point of the skills competition, and Jeff Merrick said this on 32 Thoughts.
I want to see the fastest skater in the NHL, not necessarily the fastest all-star.
Well, and that's kind of what he was saying, was like, the skills competition is supposed to answer questions, but a lot of the time the right answer isn't even represented.
Exactly.
And we talked about it. Noah Gregor. Is Noah Gregor the fastest skater in the NHL? I don't know, but he could be.
Mm-hmm.
Does Martin Furk? Martin Furk has been in the AHL most of the last few years. He hit a harder slap shot than Zdeno Chara's record.
Man.
I'd love to see him wheel out there.
Yeah. So that's something that definitely needs to change.
Can we talk about Jonathan Marchessault?
Oh God, what about him?
Like,
the fact that he had to come in like last second, and I was like, oh, of course, that's trite, because he's a fan favorite there. There, it's does Hurdle have more points? Well, maybe, is Hurdle more deserving? Perhaps, but no, let's bring in the local boy. I get it, fine, whatever.
I just thought it was funny that he was part of the magic trick and he was trying to read that card. Where it's like, and I was kind of like, oh man, it like is, has he been getting greased like the whole time? And he's like, can't read the card because he's totally buckled. But my fiance was saying, like, what if he forgot, part of the illusion, what if he forgot what division he was supposed to say? And I was like, you know what, that's a good point.
And the best part, he's just saying partly buckled. I love the fact that Peter DeBoer copped to like being a little hungover during the All-Star game. That was sweet.
I thought it was funny how, Kaprizov takes off his sweater. He's got the Ovechkin sweater on, and the host is trying to interview him, and Kaprizov's like, "No, I'm good. I'm just going.
He's like, I'm out. I'm busy."
Yeah. I thought Jack Hughes' shot was really cool, like with the kid. I thought it took a long time to like do what he wanted to do, but I thought it was cool, having the kid and like they both threw their sticks in the crowd. Like I thought that was cool.
That was the move.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. Although the kid did pull a pretty cool move.
And I want to say it was one of the celebrity judges. I don't know if it was John Hamm. I think it was John Hamm. But, they asked him, like, oh, what do you think of Tiny Jack Hughes? And John Hamm was like, I think he's going to be drafted by Arizona next year.
Jesus.
And I was laughing when he said that, like, to myself, obviously. But I'm just like, wow, he kind of just flamed the Coyotes there right in front of everybody.
Well, it seems to be the thing to do right now. I mean, but let's be honest, it's low-hanging fruit.
And, there's a lot of celebrity interaction, too, Alex DeBrincat recruited Derek Carr. And Alex Pietrangelo had Carrot Top beacon him from the seats. That was a planted thing.
Yeah, both Vegas things.
Yeah, so I thought the celebrity crossover was really cool.
So
and the NHL during the commercials, I don't know if they did on TV, but in the arena they did actually run promos for the Pro Bowl.
I wasn't paying attention. Well, hold on. Why would they run? I guess it was on the same network. I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't.
Well,
paying
it was
attention.
on the same network, but also I'm talking about like on the Jumbotron.
They're like walk over
and in Vegas.
Yeah, they're like, hey, walk over, and yeah.
Really quick though, when you were talking about bringing in other guys like for the skills competition, and you're worried about timing and everything, as cool as 21 and 22 was, isn't that kind of the same thing as the accuracy shooting? More or less. Yeah,
but I don't know, kind of a little more fun. Like accuracy shooting, if you fuck up that first shot, then it comes down to, well, now you have to put some strategy in there.
Right.
And Chief instead of hitting an ace and he hits a 3, all of a sudden, oh shit, now I got to hit an 8. But you got to start doing a little math. But I thought it was very cool. And, of course, my boy won. So that's all that matters.
Yeah, he didn't miss a single shot.
Dude. Yeah.
Everything he said, he was like, I want to hit this. He hit it. He called all of his shots.
Yeah. And dude, Pavelski, it's like, okay, here comes the Pavelski stroking. It was the way he performed in that 21 of 22. Then you got him crashing Meier's media availability that was great. Then you got him for the skills competition. I don't know if you noticed from being there live, but on TV they show, Pavelski sidling up next to Meier when they were doing their skate around and stuff. And it's just like, oh man, Sharks fans are just like trying to pull the knife out of their heart. Just like, oh.
Well, and it's funny you mentioned the media availability. So
did they just like have to clear a path? They're like, okay, everybody, wait a second, we need to bring in somebody.
So Meier's media availability, it was about 10 minutes long, and I filmed the whole thing on my phone. Maybe we'll put it on our YouTube, or we'll do something with it. I got a couple voice memos as well. I did ask Peter DeBoer a question about Timo Meier. Maybe that'll be a little Easter egg if you stick around.
Nice.
So Timo Meier's availability was about 10 minutes long, and I filmed the whole thing, as I said. But it was in 2 videos. The first one was 6 minutes, 40 seconds. The second one was 2 minutes and 40 seconds because, obviously 2/3 of the way through, somebody, I don't know if they were from the NHL or whoever, but somebody's like, okay, guys, we're just going to take a quick pause for a photo. I'm like, a photo? I'm thinking to myself, photo of what? Right? And I just so happened to be standing next to, like, the opening on the stanchion where, Meier came in and was going to eventually go out. And Pavelski, like, cut through and like walked up, and obviously I was like, okay, like this is kind of a cool moment, right? But then I was also like, if I don't get a picture of this, AJ is going to be yelling at me the whole time.
Oh, dude, I would have been so tilted. And
I got a picture of it. That photo, it looks weird, but like all the photos that I posted on the Teal Town account, like I was there. Like I wasn't taking a picture of a TV. Like I was there.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. And you go back and look, and it's by far the photo over the entire All Star Weekend. It's the one that got all the likes, all the pub.
Well, of course it did.
Yeah. And then the Sharks posted theirs about 2 hours later. So.
I was gonna say, yeah, we threw our 437 likes at last look and 35 retweets.
Not bad.
So yeah, I mean it was kind of, the media day. I don't know how much I can get into it, but it was an interesting experience. It was very informal, like guys would come and be like, oh, I want to hear Tristan Jarry talk for 30 seconds. Okay, I'm going to go over to Jake Gensel, or ooh, Victor Hedman's going to say something. It was very informal, which I kind of enjoyed. It takes a bit of the pressure off on trying to, get stuff from guys. I did, Meier was late to the podium. And so it missed me getting perhaps a quote or a picture from Pavelski, but I was there for the Sharks.
Well, was it much different than the media setup at 2019?
Yeah, the 2019 there were fans allowed, obviously, and it was it felt like a town hall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where this one felt more like a private, like press conference, if you will. Totally different venue. The 2019, I don't even know what the hell that was. Some kind of
San Jose Civic.
Yeah, like a cafeteria or something. And
wow.
In the for Vegas, it was in like a really, it was in like a nice ballroom that they converted into a thing. They had different pods for the players, and then the players came in groups of 7, and each one took a pod.
Gotcha. So, final thoughts on the Skills Day.
I thought it was fun. I did trying to leave the arena. I did get lost. Because it's it's very confusing in the bowels of the arena. But I made it home. I thought it was really nice, really enjoyable covering an event in the city you live in. So media day ended at 11:30, and I didn't have to be back at the arena for the skills competition till like 3:00. So I just went home. I took a nap.
Nice.
I didn't have to go to a hotel or go meet someone for anything. Like I just went to my house. So that was obviously nice.
And Fan Fest, Skills Camp, any of that, was there a meal provided?
Well, the Fan Fest had a food court. I did not partake. The Skills competition, there was a meal provided. It wasn't my favorite, but the snacks were pretty top tier. The best gummy bears I've ever had.
Wow.
Yeah.
And let's move on to the All-Star game, or games.
There was some controversy. Not with the game, with me.
Uh-oh. Did they not want to let you in?
For those who are unaware, there's going to be here's a quick little, I guess, tidbit about the hotel thing. So all the hotels, the MGM Hotel, Caesars, Station, Boyd, all those guys, they all have, a rewards card, right? And so they have, specifically for MGM, there's Sapphire, there's 5 tiers. It's like Sapphire, Pearl, Gold, I'm assuming Platinum, and then I don't know what the top tier is, but whatever. And so
the Evander Kane.
Right, and so for MGM, for their thing, if you're Pearl and above, which I am, you can park for free at every MGM hotel.
And there's a lot of them.
Yeah, there is. And there's 2 of them on either side of the T-Mobile Arena, for those who don't know, and one across the street. So, skills competition day, I wheeled up. I'm like, I see $30 to park at New York, New York.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, and so guy is like, okay, hi, like it's $30. I pulled out my card. I have the Pearl tier. Pulled out my card, and he was like, oh, go right ahead. Have a nice time. Like, thank you, sir. No problem. All good.
Sweet.
So then we fast forward to the day of the game, and this will kind of parlay into talking about the game itself. I wheel up. The sign says $35. And I'm like, okay, raising up the price, even though this is the same hotel, whatever. I wheel up, guys, like $35. I flash him my Pearl card, and he's like, "Oh, we're actually, right now we're actually only doing the free parking for gold tier and up, which is the third tier." And I'm like, "What kind of jam job is this? I parked here yesterday." And
Should
so
have
I
left your car overnight, Ubered.
and so I said to the guy, I'm like, "What if I'm a local? Because the casinos will do local deals."
Ah, yes.
So I said, "What if I'm a local?" And he was like, "It's still going to be $35."
Yeah, we're still going to jam you.
And I was like, and I was really close. I was like very close to paying it, and then I was gonna hit you up for a stipend. But the guy was like, "If you don't mind walking, we're the only MGM hotel that's doing this." And so like he didn't even finish talking, and I just dipped. My bread and butter for events at T-Mobile Arena is parking at the Excalibur, because it's an MGM hotel, so I get the free parking, and it's like a 7-minute walk to the arena.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I'm going to go to my bread and butter. Wheeled up to the Excalibur. "Hey, how are you, sir? Pearl card. Boom, right this way. Thanks for coming." And it was awesome. It was all good. Parked, walked, got in the arena, and everything was okay. But I just wanted to share, there was a bit of controversy there trying to go to the game on Saturday. But,
Mm-hmm.
a
Well,
little bit of a jam job, but we adapted.
yeah. Well, we got 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
Just take us through those. I'll be right back.
Oh, geez. So the first game, the Pacific versus the Metropolitan, was boring. Or like, the score would tell you otherwise, right? I mean, it was 6-4. It was 6-4. The final score. So you're thinking, okay, it was an exciting, mini game, if you will. But no, it was, it was quick. Like, it was 3-1, like a couple minutes in, and then from, like, for probably the final 5 minutes of the first half, and then the first 5 minutes of the second half, it was just like not really a lot of exciting action going on, right? And so that one kind of came to a a crawl, if you will.
Sorry. I didn't realize Amazon delivered this late on a Sunday. Oh, whoa.
And obviously Timo Meier getting a goal and an assist for the Pacific. He was so this is a fun little tidbit. One of 3 players on the Pacific to have multiple points. The only player on the Pacific to be plus. Everybody else was minus or even.
Nice.
So shout out to Timo Meier. But the game, Pacific Metropolitan, good start, good end, very boring middle.
Yeah.
And I actually kind of flipped through it on TV last night. Showed the same way on TV.
Yeah, pretty much. Even the announcers were even kind of talking about it that way. But again, here's the thing that had me tilted, and I was tilted the same way in 2019. Why the hell is the NHL having the host division start first?
Yeah, I had a feeling that was going to happen.
Yeah, the same thing happened in 2019. Pacific Division plays in the first game. They get bounced in the first round, and you'll remember in 2019 the Sharks had 3 All-Stars.
Right.
And what happened? Half the building got up and left.
Which is a bold move, because I know, like, you're pissed that your team is out, but All-Star tickets were not cheap back then. They weren't cheap this year. Like, I understand where you're coming from, and you make a very valid point. I still would have stayed.
Oh, absolutely. But it just doesn't make any sense. Like, why don't you have the host division play in the second game? That way you're getting, because I'll tell you, when the Metro Pacific game ended, they were doing, a few different crowd shots. And I saw people in Vegas jerseys, like, you could see they were packing up.
Yeah.
And
I think it makes sense to give them the second period game.
Yeah. Like, it's insane to, whoever the host division, like, where was it last year? Was it in St. Louis?
Yeah, it was in St. Louis 2 years ago.
Okay, so it's St. Louis 2 years ago. Did the Central play in the first game?
Let's see.
I'd be real interested in knowing that, because it's like, how stupid are you?
So,
I mean,
2020 game 1 was Metro versus Atlantic.
Well, this
is proving your point, though. The Central got the second game.
Yeah.
And granted, the Pacific wiped the floor with them 2 years ago, but they still got the second game.
The only thing I can think of that the NHL says that this is a good idea is that maybe they think that they want to get people in there earlier,
Right.
maybe that kind of a deal. Whereas like, oh, well, if they're playing in Vegas, the Pacific doesn't start until the second one, so we don't have to get there right away. Maybe
Right.
that's their deal, but it's just like, yeah, it's actually for me, it's kind of a worse look when after the first game people are like packing up shop and like, okay, let's get the fuck out of here, and then MGK comes out to a half empty building. But
Yeah.
whatever. Although could have gone half empty after hearing him, but anyway.
And what I thought was hilarious, this happened. The line there were, I want to say, between the two reviews and then just in general, I think grand total between all three games, I think there were 5 offsides.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. And weren't there like a couple goal disputes and at the end of the Pacific?
At the end of the Pacific game, Marchessault scored to make it 5 for the Pacific, 6 for the Metropolitan. No time on the clock, and even though based on the rules it wouldn't have been a goal, I thought that they were going to get the hometown bump and be like, yeah, within 1, whatever.
Exactly.
But no, the referees were like, nope, sorry, and ripped it off the board.
Yeah, I was kind of giggling about that because fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Central versus Atlantic. Central. That was actually a far more entertaining game, despite
That was very good.
Despite the score differential being a little more extreme.
So what was interesting here? So every player, with the exception of Kyle Connor had only 1 goal. Every other player had multiple points, which I thought was interesting. They literally got contributions from their whole roster, and the stats will not tell you this. I mean, .600 save percentage, but Jack Campbell looked really good in this game. Like he made a lot of really good saves. There was a puck pulled off the goal line, which happened on the side that we were all sitting on. It was this, and again, same thing. There's a certain level of decorum that you have in these official areas, but a couple of the media guys were getting pumped about the way Jack Campbell was playing. I'll say that.
Dude, hear me out. I mean, if they're gonna do this in Vegas, right?
Mm-hmm.
For offsides. For some of those calls, whether that was a goal or not, they should just have like a big like a Wheel of Fortune wheel. Okay, is this offside? And they go, oh, look at that! It landed on not offside. You get it. It's fine.
Right.
That would have been cool.
I mean, if they really wanted to play it up, right?
Yeah. Oh, dude. I mean, you could really see. That's the thing that kind of bums me out about Vegas getting a team, just because. How great would it be if this was a thing every year where it's at Vegas? Because if memory serves, isn't the Pro Bowl now going to be played in Vegas every year?
I don't know about that. I mean, I know it's this year, but I don't know if it's every year.
Well, because for the longest time, it was Hawaii.
I was going to say, that wasn't it in Hawaii?
Yeah, it was in Hawaii every time. But now it's just kind of like, boy, I would play this up to say, like, obviously you want to spread it around. You want to, every team should get an all-star game and be able to host it. But boy, there definitely could be some sort of created event, maybe like beginning of the season or something. Like we're going back to the whole idea of skills competition where each team sends their best 5.
Yeah, and not that it matters, but I'm trying to see what the story with the Pro Bowl is. I think they tried to move it to Orlando, so I don't know.
Well, nobody cares.
But point being, I mean, it kind of adds to the lore of sports in Vegas, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was hilarious that for one of the intermission, I don't even know if it was an intermission game. No, it was a stoppage game. One of the stoppage games, they had a Sharks fan participating, and this very nice young man got booed relentlessly.
And we posted his photo of the photo that you took of him on the Jumbotron. We posted that on our Instagram,
Okay.
and dude evidently follows us because he's like, yeah, that was me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and you see, like, you look at his Instagram, and it's a bunch of pictures, or his stories. It's a bunch of pictures from him at the All Star game.
Oh, that's incredible. I'm glad that I was able to capture that.
Yeah, dude, so cool.
I wanted to get footage of, I was trying to, be quick on the buttons, with the filming and the snapping photos. I wanted to get like footage of him getting booed, but I couldn't get my phone dialed up in time.
Yeah, no, dude, I was insanely impressed with how much information you were able to disseminate on Twitter, plus the photos, plus paying attention to the game. No, I was far better than I could have done. I'll tell you that.
And you know what? So I had my fiance kind of like scroll through the feed and kind of like, have her check my work and everything. And she's like, and she said, she was like, if I didn't know any better, I would say that you had a tripod with you for all these footage. And I was like, and I'm normally, when it comes to cameras, I'm normally like very shaky. And so I was like, I need to be as laser focused at holding this thing steady as I can be.
You need a stipends for a gobo. So empty netter for Pavs in that second game, of course. So that was like, yay for Pavs. And then finally it ends up Metro 5, Central 3. Pavs did have a goal and an assist. Wouldn't be enough, although, of course, in my house, I was just rooting for Pavs to get the game winner and a hat trick and like walk away MVP.
Mm-hmm.
But it was not to be. Boy, it took ABC about 10 seconds from the final horn to cut away, which was insanely pathetic. It's like, didn't know who won the MVP, didn't see the check presented. They were like, hey, if you want to check out the rest of this, go to ESPN.com or stream it off
that's
something.
obnoxious.
Oh, dude. And it was like, you were already like 11 or 12 minutes over the top of the hour. Like, you were already committed. Like, just finish it.
Well, and I'll tell you what. So the game 3, Central versus Metropolitan, that game started out really good. A lot of speed. There were actually like a little bit of battling going on, and I'm like, they must know that like this $1 million is on the line here.
Oh, sure.
I do want to step back. The Machine Gun Kelly concert, it was cool. The theatrics of everything was cool. Not my kind of music though.
Well, I mean, I don't mind the power pop music. It's fine. It's not my go-to, but I'm not gonna like, if it's a decent song, I'm gonna go, oh, okay, this. I'm not going to sit there. What is it? It's a bop or whatever.
Sure.
What do the kids say? Yeah. What do the kids say? But for me, I'll tell you, those first 3 songs, I was like, is this one long song or is it 3 different songs? Like, it all sounded the same. And we're also talking about MGK. First off, it's like, wait a minute. Wasn't this guy a rapper like 3 years ago? And now he's like the fucking male Avril Lavigne? Like, what happened? I don't understand.
Yeah, I have no idea. Like I said, his music, it's not my kind of music, but I appreciate, like I said, I appreciated the theatrics of everything. And obviously a lot of people really enjoyed it. So,
and it was funny to see somebody posted video of him that he, like came out, got on the little platform, and then they took it up just so they can then turn around and lower it for the TV audience, Yeah. It is pretty funny.
One thing I did, and I do kind of want to pump myself up a little bit. So at the skills competition, and I said this, I think, like a tiger in our Discord, like a tiger knows I'm fond of Jordan Kyrou. And I was casually thinking to myself, I didn't put it out there, unfortunately, but I was thinking to myself, like, man, like Jordan Kyrou could be a sleeper for this fastest skater thing. And then he obviously ended up winning it. And, our buddies at Sinbin Vegas, they posted the odds. He was plus 1,000 to win. I'm like, man, I should have threw some cash on that.
Dude.
I should have threw that $5 stapled to your microphone there on that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. That was just something that popped in my head right now.
That would have been awesome. But
it was pretty clear early on in the third game. It was pretty clear who the MVP was going to be.
Yeah. Oh.
Like, I was watching it and I'm like, it's going to be Claude Giroux. And if it's not, it's a jam job.
Yeah. Well, Lanico pointing out, and this is true, MGK got slaughtered by Eminem, so he became the next Nickelback. Now, first off, I'm going to say I think that's an insult to Nickelback. I actually don't mind Nickelback's music, but yeah, we all, and that's the other thing too, is that, MGK came out with a diss track, and Eminem turned around and completely destroyed him with Kill Shot, and then all of a sudden, I mean, you got destroyed when you now make a whole different type of music.
Right.
And the other thing that I think is so funny about that, to like put a big old exclamation mark on this, is that MGK is performing at an NHL All Star game. Eminem is performing at the fucking Super Bowl. Just,
a little bit different.
Yeah, little, the audience for one of those I think is going to be significantly larger than the other one. But
so, lastly, Claude Giroux won the MVP. He got the car. He was also the captain. And Emily Kaplan, shout out. We love Emily Kaplan on this channel. She was interviewing Drew and was like, oh, Alex Ovechkin was supposed to be the captain. He tested positive for COVID. Now you're the captain. Do you want to say anything to Ovi back home? Any words for him back home? And Giroux's like, not really. And then he paused and he was like, I hope you feel better, I guess.
Yeah. And
you could tell, like, they interviewed him on AB or ESPN. They interviewed him during the skills competition. He kind of seemed like he was like, yeah, we're here. And then obviously that interview as well, when he was the MVP, same thing, like, yeah, we're here.
Well, I think it's because Chief wants out.
I think I don't know if, like,
you watch,
maybe
he ends up in Calgary.
Right. And then kind of the last thing I have about the All-Star game, and I did this, or I was thinking about it. I have a 2022 All-Star module if you're interested.
Oh, Jesus. Just top three.
Claude Giroux, 3 goals, 2 of which were high value. Jack Hughes, 3 goals, 1 low, 1 mid, 1 high.
Who now is on the COVID, by the way.
Right, which concerns me for the mini Jack Hughes.
Mm-hmm.
And then Alex DeBrincat, mid value goal, high value goal. Timo Meier came in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
stop counting.
14th on the module.
Jesus.
No, 13th on the module, sorry. So, Pavelski was 8th, if that makes you feel any better.
Oh, for number 8.
There you go.
Yeah.
It was meant to be.
So, yeah, but seriously, man, I had such high hopes for the NHL moving over to ESPN, ABC, TNT. It's been worse than NBC. I like the I like the people they have talking.
Mm-hmm.
I like the hosts and the talking heads more, but
Sure.
Overall coverage sucks.
I think TNT is really good.
I think they're okay. I never, like with NBC, I just felt like I knew far more often, like what the schedule, what was coming, when it was going to be on. Now I don't even know. It's
NHL.com/scores.
Yeah, exactly. Or it's like,
no, but
we visit our friends in Iran and just...
right. No, you know what? I like TNT. I think TNT is much better than NBC, but I do agree with you. ESPN, ABC, it's been a bit 50-50 for me. I think if they can get through the growing pains, I think they'll be better than NBC, but it is a bit tough right now.
Yeah, I need to see more from them on promotions.
The chat agreeing with me that TNT is really good.
Oh, they're absolutely good. I just don't see much in the way of promoting games.
That's fair.
I again love their presentation, love the personalities that they have, but fuck, man, it's like it's so hard to know when stuff's going on.
When that's like the perfect way to describe it.
Yeah. So let's.
You have any other questions?
No, I think that kind of does it all. Well, hey, let's show some photos. I mean, we talked about that from earlier.
Yeah, sure, whip them out.
So this is them. What the hell was this called again?
The Fountain Face-Off.
Fountain Face-Off. So. But nobody took a face-off. That was a stupid name.
So this photo, I snapped this photo. I want to say it was Wednesday. It was either Tuesday or Wednesday. I snapped this photo, and I'll be honest with you. So I'm not gonna say where or how far, but I work kind of close to this area, so which is why I was able to rip on over. I was a little nervous about taking a photo and having somebody from the NHL kind of carry me out of there. So like I snapped it and I bailed. But yeah, that was kind of the first. That's kind of what kicked off my takeover of the account, if you will.
Yeah.
There it is. I'm glad you cropped out the beer cans that were on the base. I didn't notice that until after I took the photo.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of tacky. I was like,
yeah.
God, who the hell did that? But similar to what they had in San Jose,
mm-hmm.
and I'm sure Mitch Amaya will have already purchased this tarp that's in there. Let's move on. So the whole
this was from level 8 of the parking garage, which I parked on.
Well, wait a minute. So if we go back here, so basically kind of back there, right? That garage in the background?
No. That is the parking. So that's the parking garage. So you can see the one that's in the background is the one that's in the top left of this photo.
Oh, okay.
That's the parking garage for, even though it's right next to Park MGM, I think it actually is for ARIA employees, if you can riddle me that one. No, this parking garage, this is the New York parking garage. It was kind of weird. They had access to every floor blocked off except the top floor. So, I was on floor 8, snapped that pic, and then, made my way down 8 flights of stairs. And I'm like, I'm not walking up 8 flights of stairs. There better be a damn elevator here. There was confirmed. So that was fine.
Cool.
But yeah, that was literally like I parked my car and was like, oh, I'm going to get a pic.
Am I sure they had the tunes blaring out here?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, of course.
Entrance to the fanfare. And I think it's kind of smart that they put the store right by the entrance, because you know how it is, and you obviously know this. Oh, yeah, out the door. I want to grab this real quick. Grab it, and boom, you're right by the door. You don't have to think, oh, damn, where's the store? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the way you play that. Mascot challenge.
And so for this, as well, same thing. So I was in the building. So this was on the day of the skills competition. I got there early. I got there right when the media entrance was open. So I was like, okay, I don't want to post any pictures until the official doors are open. I don't want to ruin anybody's day or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to jam anyone up. So I was kind of looking around. I'm like, okay, there's fans in here. I'm going to snap a pic of this. Dude, Chance, the Vegas mascot, and the mascot for the Bruins, they were buzzing in this game. They put on a show. You could tell that this was very serious to them, as much of a joke as it's kind of meant to be.
What's his name? Blades?
For Boston? I have no clue.
I think so, but I don't know.
What else you got? I believe this was right after warm-ups for the skills competition, I want to say.
I'm surprised it's not a little fuller.
So, you know what? Somebody actually mentioned that to me on Twitter, and I've seen this at every Golden Knights game I've been to as well. The Vegas, for whatever reason, notoriously fills late, right?
They'll start the Dodgers.
Yeah, they'll start the pregame ceremony not looking very full, and then the lights come up from the anthem and it's full. I've seen this multiple times now, so I guess it's just a thing.
And then finally, great shot, dude.
Yeah, that was when Zed was doing his opening ceremony. I know, kind of the electronic music, it's not for everybody, but I like Zed, so I actually enjoyed this.
I don't mind Zed, and from what I heard, my homegirl Amy Robbins did some opening for him over this weekend.
Sure. I don't know who that is, but shout out.
She was a former 49er cheerleader, but she's done DJing for events at the Super Bowl, Levi Stadium, all sorts of stuff. So
shout out to Amy.
Yeah, she said she was going to be there, but yeah.
Yeah, I actually thought that was a pretty solid pick. I didn't realize when I got it, I'm like, man, there's a lot going on in this picture.
Yeah, no, it was very cool.
I do want to say too, two things. So, and I don't know if you've ever been to a Golden Knights game before. I know Puck Guy has. The music during warm-ups is ear bleeding loud. It's clear that they're trying to match the energy of a club, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for warm-ups for these events, it was not nearly as loud. And so I'm thinking the NHL was probably turn it down a little bit for our event here.
Yeah, take it down a notch so we can fucking hear people.
And then the last thing I do want to give, I'm not going to name any names, just a general shout out. I want to shout out to the NHL for AJ and I, we've been talking about this for the last week and a half or so. They really did us a solid, making this happen.
They bent over backwards for us. So
yeah,
it was
really
cool.
Shout out to the NHL for making it happen. I'm glad I got to be there. I hope that the work that I did was enough to justify them bending over backwards for us.
Right. You didn't piss anybody off, so it's all good.
Yeah, shout out to the NHL.
All right. We have to move on. We are running way so long.
This was all that happened this week. It's okay.
Yeah, I know, but I still have some stuff here. So
well, that's fine.
All right, coming up this week, well, we're off.
Thank God.
There you go.
No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, no Sharks hockey to speak of.
It's our Olympic break.
Essentially, yeah. No Sharks hockey to speak of, and because, well, Super Bowl.
But, I will not be watching.
All right, fine. But when we speak to you again 2 weeks from tonight, we will be catching you up on 3 games as the Sharks start a 4 straight against the Pacific Division teams, including makeup games for the 3 that were postponed, scheduled previously in December. So in 2 weeks, we're going to start with, of course, talking about the Sharks versus the Edmonton Oilers on Valentine's Day, the return of Evander Kane.
I'm sure there will be a lot of love in the air that day.
Yeah, I look forward to to After Dark. I'm assuming it could be a little heavy that night. Then they're going to take on the Vancouver Canucks. You remember the Sharks lost to them 5-2 in November. One of those rare losses where you go, oh, you got to win that one. And then Vegas for the first time this season. God, we're already halfway through and we still haven't seen Vegas. Or I'm sorry, the Sharks still haven't seen Vegas. Will Jack Eichel play? Remains to be seen, but I'm sure that will be all the rage, all the talk leading into that. And, oh, look at that. We're taking over After Dark following that Vegas game because that's on a Sunday. Nice. Cool.
There you go.
So, look, real talk here. The Sharks currently have a 5% chance to make the playoffs, and they also refuse to rebuild. So what can the Sharks do the rest of this season?
Just keep playing the games.
All right.
I mean, it's when you look at the schedule, right? There's, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15. There's 16 games between now and the deadline, which feels close. But it's still like 7 or 8 weeks away, right? So it's kind of like, I mean, it's something where it's like, yeah, you're kind of thinking about
like
it. But
6 weeks away, dude.
Well, whatever. Point being, it's still a decent amount of time away. And so it's kind of like, on one hand, it's like, in terms of games played, like, we're close. We kind of got to see what happens here. But at the same time, like,
it's only 16 games.
That's the thing. It's only 16 games. It feels close, but like 16 games over 6 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but 16,
like, it's weird.
16 games, but if memory serves, like 12 of them or 11 of them are against Pac-Div opponents. That's, oof. Let's be honest. It's all going to come down to it. It's because
10 of 16.
There you go. And in the 10 of 16. But the thing is, like all those Pacific Division games, those are going to be tough games.
Most of those division games, or maybe more like half of them, they're at home.
Yeah, you like that, but the thing is, it's like, okay, you're going to see Seattle again. Well, you haven't figured out how to beat them.
Maybe third time's the charm, dude.
Could be. We'll see. Then you got to play Vegas, Juggernaut, right? It's going to be tough. At Anaheim. Anaheim, you talked about them being an outlier before. I agree with you. I think that's a very winnable game. I have it on my sheet as a win. But then between now and the deadline, 3 of 4 are played versus LA.
Huge.
That's huge. But the ones that are outside of your division that you have to play, Boston, pretty decent team. Nashville, yeah, good team. Florida, best in the West, or best in the East. Colorado, best in the West. And then you get a breather against Arizona the day before the deadline.
Right. I think for these games, like, the division games are critical, as you mentioned. I think specifically for games against the Eastern Conference, like, you don't want to take your foot off the gas at all, right?
Yeah, but it's not like you're playing Buffalo, Ottawa, Philadelphia.
What I mean to say by that is that if you have to go to overtime or shootout to get the win, do it.
Oh, absolutely.
Against the Eastern Conference team, like, you give them a point, who gives a crap?
Yeah, I'll give you that. But this, I mean,
like, if you're not going to beat them in regulation, take it to overtime and just do it.
Well, 8 games for the Sharks lost by 1 goal this time, and half of those they went 0 on the power play. In the other 4, they either couldn't hold a lead or they couldn't take advantage of a power play parade. It was Seattle, right? Where they went like 1 for 6 and 4 of those power plays came in the third period.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah, so you have that.
I mean, that's going to be the difference, right? Power play and holding a lead.
Yeah, That's been a huge issue this season. In 5 of 6 games that were played in November, the Sharks scored a total of 6 goals. So again, coming back to the fact that offense has been hard to come by. If only there was somebody in, I don't know, Sweden that could help you. And then when it comes to the division, how the fuck do you lose twice to the worst team in your division, once to the second worst team in your division, yet you beat Calgary twice and LA once?
Yeah.
How the hell does that happen?
It's voodoo, dude, is what it is. But here's the thing. Here's the silver lining for you. March the 1st in Vegas. March the 10th in Los Angeles. I'm going to both of those games. So the Sharks will be getting the jerk bump on both of those days.
All right.
So something to think about.
Remains to be seen. But
there is data. It's not public data, but there is data. You know, when I've gone to a Sharks game that's outside of San Jose, their winning percentage is like over 90%, I think.
Well, we're going to see what happens. But right now, I want to have some sort of optimism.
Then do it.
But I'm a realist. If you
That's
like
fair.
to share your optimism, put it in the chat, put it in the comments section of this video, the comment section of whatever platform you're on, or just tweet me directly. Give me your silver lining, because I'm a realist. I look at this and I go, the Sharks, for me, if you look at the trajectory, you look at their strength of schedule that they have to face combined when you look at with every other team in the Pacific Division, this is almost an impossible hill to climb for the Sharks to make the playoffs this season. And it's that case of we're too good to really suck and get a draft pick, but we're too bad to make the playoffs, or even if for some reason the Sharks squeak in, they're going to get ceremoniously dumped in the first round.
I mean, I think even if they do squeak in, I mean, it's more money, and maybe it's something you build off of. I know it's not ideal, but where the Sharks have been the last 2 years, I think they would take a first-round exit. But
I'm just saying, from a fan perspective, I'm kind of like, fucking tank.
No, you're not allowed to do that openly.
You know what I mean.
You have to be developing the youth, right?
And I get that, but it's like, okay, just lose these games. Like, I don't care if you lose them, 3-2 or 2-1, whatever.
I guess what you're trying to say is pick a direction.
Yeah, pick
either be bad or be good.
Yeah, this kind of middling stuff. And remember, as far as I know, I don't believe that they're going to get LeBanc back before the deadline. And the thing is,
my estimate was the end of February, but we'll see.
Okay, but let's say, for hypothetical sake, you're maybe, if you're hopeful, you're saying end of February, beginning of March for LeBanc, maybe Karlsson.
I don't think Karlsson is going to be. I think they said reevaluated in mid-March, so they could easily evaluate him and be like, yeah, he's not there.
Yeah. And then Ian making the point, players don't tank, management tanks by putting the players out there.
Right, but that's the thing, right? Is like even the worst players are going to bust their ass to try and win no matter what.
Sure.
Because think about it, like I'm trying to think of a good example here. So like think about it on Arizona, right? On Arizona, Phil Kessel.
Do they still have a team?
Right, like on Arizona, Phil Kessel is a pending free agent. Do you think he cares what the player that Arizona drafts in 3 years tops out at?
Yeah, no, he don't give a fuck.
He doesn't care.
Yeah.
He cares about who's on the team.
Well, let me get back to my point, is that
Sure.
if LeBanc is like, okay, he could come back or whatever, and let's, for shits and giggles, let's say second week of March, LeBanc is ready, and maybe Karlsson is starting to skate. My whole thing is, if they're, I don't know, out of the wild card, out of the third spot by 8-9 points, like, is there any reason to bring them back?
Well, you can't keep a player on injured reserve if they're healthy.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, don't rush it.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Like, if they're out of it, take your sweet time.
Yeah, okay.
But, like, if they have to play, like, if they are healthy, they have to play.
Of course. Skylar jumping in on the super chat here. Thank you very much for your support. Per Emily Kaplan, Chicago Blackhawks fire AHL head athletic trainer for sexual harassment in November. Chicago is a black hole, more to love. Jesus Christ. You know, we were going to bring this up, but we might as well now. Let's finish. We'll get to that Chicago thing in a minute. Let's finish this. So, LeBanc and Carlson, you know, you don't rush them back, but you have choices to make in 16 games, and if you're trending downward while everybody else is, you know, if you're slowly but surely losing points, and again, like, you're going to have this whole set against the Pacific Division, you got to make a choice. Like, what's the deal with Hertl? What's the deal with Barabanov?
It all goes back to whether or not they want to resign. Like, if you say, hey, by all accounts, and that's shout out to Shang, the Sharks, at least as of a couple weeks ago, were getting ready to prepare an offer for Hertl. And as of a couple weeks ago, what Barabanov was looking for was out there. So, the wheels are in motion. And you said earlier, kind of, what's the reason to be optimistic? And I think the fact that we are 6 weeks away from the deadline and it's not totally absolute that those two are getting traded, I think is optimistic. Maybe you re-sign them and you can say, okay, you know what, we need to get our head on straight. We're going to build up and try and get back at it. Mm-hmm. That's kind of my optimism. But I think with those two guys, Hertl and Barabanov are the big ones, obviously. If you go to them and say, hey, the deadline is a week out, are you re-signing? If the answer is no or I don't know,
bye.
Pack a suitcase.
Yeah.
And that's not to be mean. That's just the way it is. You can't lose. Barabanov, good player, but Hertl especially, like, you cannot lose these guys for nothing. Like, I would say right now, if the deadline comes and goes and Hertl is not traded, he's re-signing. Because as much as
he's re-signing, or Doug Wilson's getting fired.
No, because technically yes, but here's the thing: is as much as I know, like the Sharks brass, they're married to this team. But as much as they are married to the team, I know that Doug Wilson also has the foresight to not keep somebody he can't re-sign.
Well, again, it's one of those things that we just have to keep on waiting on until something happens one way or the other.
That's the thing, is like we're kind of in wait and see mode. Like we can talk about it for the next 5 hours on Discord. Like, nothing's going to change.
But this is the other thing too that kind of gets me about not seeing enough. Huh?
It turns your crank?
Yeah, yanks my crank a little bit, but when it comes to not seeing SAP very full, I think that there are a certain amount of fans that are going, well, you know what? I'm on the fence, just like you guys are with Hertl. Like, pick a direction. You know what I mean?
Thing is, though, like, even if the Sharks do fire Doug Wilson, like, the next guy that comes in is going to have a harder time because, because the next guy who comes in is going to have a lot to work to do to get back on track.
Yeah.
And those same people are going to say, well, we fired Doug Wilson. Why aren't we winning?
Well, okay.
I'm just saying.
No,
dude,
you're right.
Read the Twitter bio. Voice of the uninformed fan.
All right. Let's see here real quick. Man, we got to get the hell out of here. NBC's sports broadcast model has undergone significant changes over the last several months. When we spoke to Randy Hahn just before this season began, Puck Guy did. You can find it on our YouTube channel. He mentioned NBCS were planning lots of technical upgrades, and because of that, the broadcast team, Randy and Brett, they wouldn't travel with the team until beyond the new year. And then, if you remember, they did that one game, I want to say in Chicago, very early.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden it was, they were right back to, or no, wait a minute. That was at Chicago. No. It was right after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, because Chicago's regional rights holder is also NBC, so they were able to just plug into their system.
I gotcha. So anyway, a lot of technical upgrades. A recent report stated NBC Universal will soon unveil a direct-to-consumer option for its regional sports networks. And so if you're local here, you know that RSNs carry the Warriors, Sharks, A's, Giants, Quakes, Sacramento Kings. They all play on those regional networks. Now, there's no word yet on what that means for viewers of either NBCSN, Bay Area, or California, but it's something to keep an eye on. We've, before this season started, we remember the Sharks ended their radio broadcast deal with KFox. And the only way that Sharks fans can now listen to Bruzanowski in the Bay Area is by streaming games on their audio network on the Sharks app. And that's great if you have a full battery and an unlimited data plan.
Yeah.
But if you don't, it's kind of hard to, listen to some Sharks on the way home from work when they're, playing outside of the Bay Area. I don't know. This whole direct-to-consumer thing, it's weird that you see the NHL transition to ESPN, ABC, TNT, and all that. You see the Sharks transfer to the Sharks audio network. It's funny that they keep hiding behind this whole thing of like, we're trying to grow the game and grow the audience, yet they're making it more and more difficult for the audience to find it. I don't know. It's an interesting way. Guess we'll spend a little more money on promotion, I suppose. Last few, here, let's just dive into that comment. Per Emily Kaplan, Chicago Blackhawks fire AHL head athletic trainer sexual harassment. Now, this obviously does not look good. Did this just happen? Did this news just break?
It came out like 2 years ago, Jesus, 2 hours ago that he was being investigated.
There's a big fucking difference between 2 years and 2 hours ago. Okay. Well, either that, it's like that is not that doesn't speak very highly after Rocky Wirtz imploded this week when asked about Kyle Beach.
No kidding.
Whatever. I can't with the Chicago Blackhawks anymore.
I was going to say, it's like you don't want to, like, it's tough because on one hand, you don't want to give them airtime, but at the same time, you don't want to let it go without carving them up a little bit.
Yeah. Like this was a franchise that was like the model franchise starting in 2010. You win 3 of 5, 3 of 6, the 3 of 5, 6,
3
right?
of 6,
3 of 6. Yeah, you win 3 of 6. You've got just a ridiculous. I mean, if you're so good up front that you can win with Niemi and net, holy shit! Model franchise there for a while, and then you come to find out what the real story, and you're like, oh my god, I hope this team burns to the ground. All right, moving on. Last Tuesday, the New Jersey Devils wore some warm-up jerseys that paid tribute to the Lunar New Year, and some people got triggered, and they got raked on social media. I don't want to get into it. Like, you can go find out. You can go look at the image and look at the jersey that the New Jersey Devils wore. If you will find that if you search out things to be offended by, it won't take you long to get offended.
I just think if you're offended by jerseys that a team is wearing in celebration of a holiday, like put on your adult pants and get over yourself.
Yeah, because you think like if you're looking at it through blurry glasses or something, that the Devils logo might resemble something else, like that's on you that you're seeing that. That's not on the Devils, No,
I think like anytime there's anything like people who go on Twitter and they complain about Pride Night or Black History Month or Lunar New Year or anything that's meant to be inclusive, like if you go on Twitter and complain about that, like I hope you get run over by a bus.
You're right. Finally here, to The Athletic, surveyed agents, hockey agents. Man, there were a couple of questions there where you just kind of go, yikes. Did you get a chance to see this article by any chance?
No, I did not. I did not.
Okay, so they had money being equal. Which team or owner would you steer your client towards? Tampa, overwhelming favorite.
Yeah, obviously.
Toronto comes in second.
They got a lot of money.
Yeah, oddly enough, Philadelphia coming in at third.
Dude, Comcast owns the Flyers. They got a lot of money too.
Yeah. Rounding out the top 5 are the Islanders and the Rangers.
All 5 of those teams are teams whose owners make a lot of money.
Interestingly enough, though, rounding out the top 10, San Jose Sharks.
And why do we think that is, Class?
Go ahead.
Because the owner makes a lot of money.
Hey now. So that was But hold on.
You remember April 2020? Like during the pandemic when no money was coming in, they still paid to renovate the arena.
Yeah. Oh, big time. Big time. Whole new the ripped out all the floor, put in the new ice plant, ripped out the escalators. Yeah, a lot was.
That's what I'm
done.
saying. Like you can be a crappy team, but like if you're that committed to your organization that you spend money to make it better when you're already losing money, like that's attractive to people too.
Hey now here's of course the more fun question: is there a team or owner you would encourage a client to avoid?
Buffalo.
Big fucking shock that Arizona #1.
Yeah, dude.
Big shock.
Did you see? So this whole nonsense with Arizona playing in Arizona State University for the next 3 years potentially. Did you see that in order to add some accommodations to this 5,000 seat arena to make it better for the Coyotes playing there, they have to put $20 million into it?
Jesus.
Why wouldn't you give that $20 million to the Phoenix Suns and say, hey, can we share this?
Or give it to the arena that you're currently in.
Yeah.
Oh man, dude, give that $20 million to Hasso, and he'll be like, "Yeah, you can play in San Jose for 3 years. I don't give a fuck."
Like it's just so confusing to me. Like, you know, the Phoenix Suns are pretty well rooted in downtown Phoenix, and not only that, the Coyotes played there before they moved to Glendale.
Yeah.
It's not like they're strangers.
Yeah, it's
like
really
give
odd.
that $20 million to the Suns and have a respectable building.
Yeah, how about it? Second on the list of who to avoid, Ottawa.
Yeah, not surprised. I mean, obviously, you know, it seems like ever since all the drama ended, it seems like their owner's been in better shape, but still, why did the drama come to begin with?
Yeah. Third on the list, I think, is a little quizzical, Carolina.
Yeah, dude, their owner is so. Oh man.
Well, evidently, based on what the article said, is that Carolina will spend on player salaries, and that's it.
Yeah, they're everywhere else. It's very much bargain bin. Like if you like Rod Brindamore's extension with Carolina is way below market value, and like there are people who say that Rod Brindamore should be in the Jack Adams conversation every year.
Mm-hmm.
And like obviously, like if he wants to be there, then he wants to be there. But it's like he's such a good coach. Like it's crazy that they're just like, yeah, we're gonna underpay you because whatever.
Well, one of the teams, a team getting one vote about avoid this is Vegas. And
well, yeah, dude, they trade everybody every year.
It's exactly what it says. It says Vegas treats you great until they don't. They're like, as soon as you're disposable, they're like, goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, you know, it's like that might work now, but you know, winning solves everything. But boy, they have a losing season or two. How would you rate Gary Bettman's leadership as the NHL commissioner? You got 7 saying poor, 7 saying good, 6 saying meh. So right down the middle. And,
yeah, I think it's somewhere in the middle, but leaning towards poor.
Well, and a lot of the agents,
at least recency bias.
Well, a lot of the agents have said it's largely because he's kicked our ass every time we've had to negotiate. So, of course. What else do we have here? Would you have concerns about your client signing with the Canadian team? 12 yes, 7 no. Was it the right decision to skip the Olympics this season? Overwhelmingly, 18-2, yes, it was the right decision.
Wow. Victor Hedman doesn't feel that way. He said at Media Day that, you know, he wanted to go to Beijing.
Yeah, well, these are agents.
True, but I mean, you know, you'd think. I wonder if, like, because of the anonymity, maybe some player or some agents feel comfortable going against their client.
Yeah. Has the NHL done enough to increase league revenues? 2 say yes, 18 say no.
Wow.
Yeah, that's huge. And here's the funny thing. This goes to what we were saying. It says the American TV deals with ESPN and Turner have led to victory laps for league leaders, but agents share the view of some other team executives who feel there was meat left on the bone and more could have been delivered. There are also varying opinions on the nature of the ESPN TV deal, which is heavily based on streaming and exclusive games on ESPN Plus. This is a direct quote from one of the agents. How the fuck do you watch every game? That's a question that I get from players, families, and parents. When that's an issue, the TV deal is broken. Thank you. It's exactly what I'm saying. Is how the hell do you see the goddamn game? And the other thing, this is the one that really concerns me with the agents. What about jersey ads? And the agents, 11 said not enough, 6 said just right, 3 said too much. Now, I don't understand this. I guess they're basing that on what they've revealed next season will look like, because how do you sit there and say that it's too much when there's not currently an ad on the jersey?
Well, but maybe that's, maybe that's what it means. Maybe that's their way of saying don't do ads.
Perhaps. But it says most agents polled think the league needs to go further and sell more than just a small patch on the sweater. It says if we can get corporate logos on there tastefully and raise that revenue a bit, everyone will be happy. I don't see any problem because I think North American sports won't go too far with it. I'm sorry. North America invented taking things too far. Are you kidding? Now, another guy said, why haven't we sold space on the pants? What about the socks? Honestly, I'd love the current setup for next season. Small ad on the jersey, but a larger space sold on pants and equipment. And it says, make the most of it. Plus, if you put it on equipment that isn't the jersey, which is what fans would buy. And then the another agent said, why isn't the goalie covered in ads? Says, we know he's the goalie. He doesn't need to wear the same jersey as everybody else. Sell it and make it fit. I don't know. It scares the shit out of me. That I just, I don't care for that part. And then, of course, does the league market their players well enough? 100% said no. So, great article, but interesting to hear the point of view from the agents. Just really odd. Really odd. Let's get into our dark horses and get the hell out of here. Jerks Canucks are on life support, 7th in the Pacific, 46 points, 20-20-6. I don't understand how you lose that many games with that much talent, but I don't know. Is the Boudreaux effect gone already now?
Yeah, I think, you get the Boudreaux bump at first, right? But I think ultimately, I think the Canucks were just destined to have a bad year this year. And, I think for their point of view, I think they're hoping to kind of rebuild the blue line and then come back at it next year.
AJ's Kings looking pretty solid, bro.
They seem all right.
Dude, 24-16-7, good for 55 points. Second in the division. They are 2 points out from taking the lead away from Vegas. If you want to watch some good hockey, ladies and gentlemen, look up the schedules for when LA and Vegas play each other. I think that could be real fun to watch. I'm just saying. And finally, we'll leave you with this, our tweet of the week. Going back to the All-Star game, can somebody explain to MGK that hockey doesn't have halftime? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And, of course, he got raked on Twitter. But
well, especially because it kind of shows, and this is something that I've thought about too, you get the names that everybody's heard of, right? It's like, ooh, we got this celebrity to do our event, but it's like, are they a legitimate hockey fan? And that's why I know people have been bitching and moaning about John Hamm all weekend, but it's like, I like John Hamm being involved in the NHL because he's a hardcore hockey fan.
Yeah, you've seen him with Blues games and shit.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He's involved even when the camera is off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same thing with Will Ferrell. That guy's at LA Kings games all the time. Nobody even gives it a second look.
Yeah. Or Matthew Perry. He's been in a ton of LA Kings games. Well, of course he is a good...
Christy Yamaguchi.
Oh, that's true.
Going to a bunch of Sharks games. She has season tickets.
Hey now.
And nobody even knows that she's there.
Every once in a while, camera catches her.
Sure, but my point being is if you want to get celebrity engagement, why don't you get celebrities who are
educated,
down with the sport?
Yeah,
because then you just look stupid. Where it's like, oh, you paid to have this big name here, and they're not even beefing you up properly.
Yeah. So to wrap it up here, I mean, we kind of got into those odds for the Sharks, but making the playoffs, yeah, I have them 95% out. Those are the odds for me, unfortunately. A lot of pivotal games now between now and the trade deadline, and the return of Evander Kane. What do you think happens in there? Do you think anybody runs him or?
No, I don't. I mean, if the Sharks are smart, they won't.
him and
The Sharks are smart,
Ferraro.
they won't care.
Well, I think it seems like him and Ferraro are still boys. You got Ferraro liking his
Yeah,
his
but
Instas.
but dude, so many people like Instagram posts just because it pops up on their feed.
True.
Like,
Well, and
you know-
look at Ferraro. I mean, it seems like he could get along with everybody.
yeah, I don't know. I think,
He sees the best in everyone.
yeah, I don't know. I think if the Sharks are smart, they don't even look at him. They just play.
Oh, you don't think anybody? Let me ask you this: do you think Evander Kane goes after anybody? 'Cause-
Same thing. I think if he does, he's stupid. Play the game. Just
Yeah, but we've seen him get triggered from Reeves. Other guys have yanked his crank, and it's gone off swimmingly. I'll be interested to see the reaction of the fans that are in the building too.
Yeah, from the Sharks' perspective, I hope he does get rattled. But you know what? If he's smart, he wouldn't.
It's going to be interesting to see how that works out. Because remember, Evander in that last interview or whatever talked about, a power play meeting and shit got leaked from that. And it was like, they asked Logan and Logan's like, I wasn't even there. What are you talking about? I was injured. They asked Hurdle and he was like, I don't know. I was not paying attention. I just focused on game. And I think there was somebody who said, wonder if it was LeBanc. Well, LeBanc isn't going to be in this game. I don't know. Should be fun to see if somebody gives him a run, gives him a shot. Or do you even see here? This is the game that I would love to be at, just to be there from the start of warm-ups, just to see if anybody even talks to him.
I sincerely doubt anyone will.
Yeah, I can't see it. All right. So, look, thanks for checking us out yet once again. I don't understand how we pulled this off. They played one fucking game this week, and yet we were able to ramble on for nearly 2 hours.
Well, there was a pretty big 3-day period where our website was doing a lot.
Yeah, that's true. Twitter was going. So you can follow him at hockey_jerk. You can follow me at AJ_strong. Remember to leave your take in the comment section of this YouTube video if you weren't able to play along live. So with that, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Tell a friend. We'd certainly appreciate it. And follow us on social media at Tealtown USA. Jerk, your famous last words.
I'm hungry. Let's go.
Right. Okay. My famous last word. What's the silver lining from the season aside from getting rid of Kane? Hit me up in the comment section. I want to know. What's your silver lining? So remember to subscribe in all those fun places and find everything on tealtownusa.com. And as always, check out After Dark, the post-game show that follows every single Sharks game, and it does include the quotes from the Sharks media session. So that's our show. We thank you very much for watching and or listening. We will see you in 2 weeks for episode 152. Who do you got in the Super Bowl, Jerk? Bengals or Rams?
The referees.
I need to hold you to an actual answer. Bengal or Rams?
Well, you know what? I'm gonna say the Rams. Just
Wrong! That is the wrong answer.
Well, okay, whatever. I don't watch bowling, so it doesn't matter.
Go Bengals.